I watched the Tucker Carlson Vladimir Putin interview, where Tucker Carlson trucked his way over to Moscow and interviewed Putin inside the Kremlin. A very brave act, something that definitely needed to be done because of the Russia versus Ukraine war and all of the things that could turn into. Now, I am not a fan of that war. I am not waving the Ukrainian flag. It's not in my bio on my Twitter page or anything like that. And I want to come away from that 2-hour long interview, and I want to give you 4 takeaways. And I want to try to do this pretty quickly. Help me out by hitting the like button, and that'll end up hopefully punching the YouTube algorithm in the face, and they can be fooled into thinking that this is information that everybody needs to see, in spite of the fact that they probably don't want people to see what I'm about to say about this. So, yeah, help me out there. I greatly appreciate it. So, four takeaways here. Takeaway number 1 from this interview is Vladimir Putin has been severely underestimated. What he did in this interview, sitting there in his 70s, is he put on a historical masterclass for Tucker Carlson, where he went back to the 9th century and beyond and educated Tucker Carlson on the history of Russia over the last 1,300 years. It was pretty amazing to see that, and I say that while also holding that Vladimir Putin has his own set of facts, and then there's the actual reality, okay? And those two things sometimes collide with one another. So just because Vladimir Putin can lay out this amazing display of his view of the facts, that doesn't make them necessarily true. He advocates a lot for at least the eastern side of Ukraine, and the Crimea have been Russian for 1,300 years, and he's trying to fight the war to reclaim them. I don't want to get into all that, but the dude's smart, okay? He prosecuted the case for Russia's war and retaking all of these things like an excellent federal prosecutor or state prosecutor. He should not be underestimated. He is a highly intelligent individual, and there's a reason that he has been where he is currently residing as the leader of Russia for the last 24 years. There's a reason for that, and that reason is inside of his intelligence level. Don't underestimate the man. He has, I say this as a United States Marine, Vladimir Putin has a likability aspect to him that has helped him get where he is. I think that it would be very easy to be manipulated by Vladimir Putin because he's likable. Now, he might not be likable when he has a gun to the back of your head, but face to face, he has a likability factor that a lot of U.S. presidents cannot get. And I say that, if you watch the interview, then I think that you'll probably see it, because you can watch this and kind of be a little subdued by him, and you go, man, he doesn't seem like that bad of a guy. And don't let his likability fool you. I would say be very cautious in how you view him, and also, as it is easy for you to start to kind of see things the way he sees the world, remember how much Russians will see things the way he sees them. If it's easy to start going, Vladimir Putin's not that bad of a guy, how do you think Russians relate to him after being there for 24 years? How do you think the Russian soldier relates to Vladimir Putin when he comes and visits them on the battlefield, wherever that may be, or in their training camps? He has a likability that is, I would say, most likely very contagious within Russia. And that goes into, don't underestimate Vladimir Putin. The last thing in this point of not underestimating him is, I would compare him to Floyd Mayweather, like a boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. You may look at Floyd and say, this guy's 145, 150 pounds. Doesn't look like totally cocked and locked. He's in his mid 40s now. I think that I could probably take him if it came down to it. Floyd Mayweather, I don't know why I can't say his name. He is going to take you into very deep waters, and then he's going to drown you. You're going to suffocate yourself fighting that guy. And I think that a head-on collision with Russia, if that ever happened, would result in the U.S. going into waters that are too deep for us to swim in. I say that with all of the respect and admiration that I can muster for the American service member, formerly being one myself. But you just look at his level of history, the tactics that this man has had to employ to get where he is and maintain his position. You don't want to screw with this dude, okay? You don't want to underestimate him and think that you can outfox that fox. I think that's a dangerous game to play. I currently think that we are playing a very dangerous game with this man by funding Ukraine the way that we have. And you can see through this interview that Vladimir Putin takes a serious offense to it. Does that worry me? Well, looking at who our leaders are, and people like Joe Biden, people like Lloyd Austin, people like his name escapes me, this little pretty boy, former naval commander that'll go on the news programs, and he's got his cute little haircut. Those guys are absolute jokes compared to someone like Vladimir Putin or Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. And they know that they're playing with kids when they're dealing with our guys. I think that needs to be stated. They know they're playing with absolute freaking clown shows that are only where they're at because they're yes men, they're diversity hires, they're whatever they are, but they're not there because they're the best of the best. And that's a scary thing. Point number 2, Vladimir Putin cares about Russia and nothing else. He doesn't care about the rest of the world. He doesn't care about America. He doesn't care about, I don't think that he cares about the average Ukrainian. I don't think that he cares about the average Russian. I don't think he cares about the Russian soldier. I think he cares about the dirt, the actual motherland dirt, where we say we love America. Is that rooted in the dirt, in the stuff that you can walk upon from shore to shore? No, I think it's more in the idea of America and all that it stands for and the freedom that we love, which is going away. But I think Putin cares about the dirt. And I think that what was evident to me is that Putin doesn't mind that Russian lives are being sacrificed, and he doesn't mind that Ukrainian lives are being sacrificed, and he wouldn't mind if American lives are sacrificed, although he says it's not worth your time to undertake this mission. But he's not bugged by the fact that people are dying, it seems, in this interview, and that may be a negotiation tactic which he's laying out right now in order to get us to come to the table. Hopefully we do come to the table and get this thing over with. But also, I've seen in recent months that a lot of people on the right, and I'm definitely on the right in this country. I'm a very conservative Christian. But a lot of people on the right have kind of fawned over Russian orthodoxy and their Christian values. And that may be true for a lot of people in Russia, but Tucker Carlson asked him a question about his faith, and it was evident to see that Vladimir Putin doesn't give a rip about faith. He can call himself a Christian, but it's nothing more than an afterthought. And above Christianity, he is a Russian. So as far as all of his values are Russia. Russia is valuable, and he'll do whatever it takes to prosper the motherland. And taking lives and all things related to war, that's an afterthought. It's all about Russia. Now, point number 3, the facts about the Russia-Ukraine conflict are uncertain. I think that Vladimir Putin lied to us last night in that interview. I think he lied to Tucker Carlson, and I think he distorted facts to benefit him and his cause. Within that, I also believe that the facts have been twisted by Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine. I think the facts have been twisted by President Biden, by people like Lindsey Graham, by people like Sean Penn, and all of these others in the media that are hook, line, and sinker, ready to send the Marines into Ukraine to defeat the Russians. I think the facts have been distorted on both sides, and we should be extremely careful in launching ourselves over to pick a side of the road to walk down and say, well, I like these guys and they're part of my team. I want to be with them. I don't think that we should be so quick to pick teams, especially when you look at the facts from the lens of Scripture. Remember what Psalm 2 says. The kings of the earth and the rulers, they set themselves against the Lord and against his anointed. Vladimir Putin falls into that category. President Biden does. And Volodymyr Zelensky falls into that category. The kings of the earth and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. They ultimately want to throw off the bounds of accountability with God, and they do not love the Messiah, the Christ of Israel. They want to be the man. And I think that's evident in what Vladimir Putin says and everything else going on. So we should be careful that we are not propagandized by Russia, Ukraine, or the U.S. and all of this. I love America to the fullest. I've been ready to die for my country, but that does have a boundary. And the boundary is this. I'm not going to fall hook, line, and sinker for some politician's freaking war game, because you don't know how deep his pockets are getting lined. And as little as Vladimir Putin cares about the Russian soldier that he's sending off to war, I would say equally, Joe Biden cares that little about the American soldier, the American Marine that he's going to send off to fight. Evidenced by these guys that we just lost over in the Syria-Jordanian border region. I don't think our politicians freaking give a rip about the American soldier, just like Vladimir Putin doesn't give a rip about his guys. They care about themselves, they're selfish, they are prideful, they are arrogant, and they are willing to sacrifice blood because of their personal issues inside of their own heart. So you and I need to be careful. Last point is this. Tucker Carlson is a brave, courageous, and good man. He did something by going over there that took a lot of freaking balls and guts. Walking into the Kremlin as a journalist inside of Russia, many journalists have been disappeared there. That's a dangerous job. And Tucker Carlson did an amazing job. And he asked Putin a couple hard questions. I want to say he called him, to his face, knee to knee with the guy. He said that he was bitter about something, and kind of pushed back on Putin a little bit. And then the biggest thing that I saw was towards the end of the interview, Tucker Carlson asked for the release of a Washington Post journalist that's currently imprisoned in Russia on espionage charges. And Putin denied the request, and Tucker Carlson doubled down, reiterating his statement for Vladimir Putin to release this journalist because he's not a high-value target. He's not really a freaking spy. He got caught for doing some stupid stuff, and he ought to just let him go. And it was just like, Tucker is very brave for doing that. And I know Tucker is getting a lot of flack from the left because he's just a Putin propagandist or whatever. And there could be nothing further from the truth. Tucker Carlson risked his life by asking that question. There's really nothing else to say about it. Tucker Carlson went to bat for someone that went down as a spy inside of Moscow. And that's a dangerous freaking game to play. That's a dangerous question to ask. And he did it. And he knew full well going over to Russia that if they would have arrested him and put him in prison, Tucker knows full well that the U.S. is not coming to save him. Joe Biden is not going to make any demands for the release of Tucker Carlson. Like, Tucker knows, like, good luck if I get jammed up over here. So he's a freaking brave, good man. And I appreciate the information that he's brought to us. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you watched it, if you're going to watch it, what you think about what I said. See you on the next one.